what's going on, guys? Jeff here. Today's Monday. My throat is still a little bit sore, so I'll be eating a little bit of lozenges. So sorry if my voice sounds a little coarse and such. Um, Money, a little bit. Some things actually happened during the weekend. First things first, which is the Tesla deliveries. Although it did miss by a little bit, but I do think that the delivery number did turn out to be better than what I personally expected. But anyway, let's begin. Let's cover some news today. All right, so over here, let's look at Tesla delivering 310,000 electric vehicles in the first quarter. They were expecting about 300. They were expecting about like 317. Yeah, okay. So it was a miss by a little, with a small margin. But of course, I do think that it is still a pretty good delivery nevertheless, because we have to also take into consideration that we're not expecting the whole Russia-Ukraine situation to actually be pushing on towards more supply chain issues for us to actually go on into all the delivery number for all the automobile companies and such. All right, and then something that was actually interesting for Tesla, well, Elon Musk, he actually took up 9.2% passive stake in Twitter. So, of course, this kind of just brings forth more of the theories that are behind people who are talking about how Elon Musk might take on a new, a new social media platform and such. He might make a new one, but of course, right now, if he's taking up 9.2% passive stake in Twitter, for passive stake, usually it simply means that he just bought stocks in it and he now holds 9.2%. It means that he's not going to be a shareholder of any sort. He's not going to have any rights, of voting rights when it comes down to the meetings and such. But yeah, because of that, Twitter basically went up by 26% in the pre-market. This news actually came in a few minutes, maybe half an hour ago. Elon Musk polled his more than 80 million followers on Twitter last month, asking them whether the company adheres to the principle of free speech. After more than 70% said no. He asked whether a new platform was needed and said he was giving serious thought about starting his own platform, which is what I said before. And right now we do think that there is a good chance that Elon Musk is basically just taking on more stake in Twitter. Personally, my own thinking is that he's just taking up more stake in Twitter. But I don't think that this is going to be that big of an issue for him either way. Of course, Twitter is going up right now, which is very nice to see, because personally I hold Snapchat, and Snapchat kind of have a little bit of a residual pump from whatever Twitter is doing as well. So that's going to be good for me. But yeah, that's all for the Elon side of things. Let's talk about a little bit of inflation. Inflation-wise, with inflation not letting up, shoppers cut back on staples. I said this before. The fear that we had, with Procter & Gamble, with Clorox, with Kraft Heinz, all this, these are all staple products that is going to starting to be affected when the whole Russia-Ukraine situation ongoing. With wheat prices going up as well. Of course, you're going to see prices of rice, bread, pasta, rye, everything is going to go up. And because of the basic staples of food going up in price, that's going to cause a different shift in the prices with all the other food groups, such as your meat, your seafood, your poultry, and things like that. If people are starting to not eat as much rice, they have to find what is the next cheaper alternative and such. So, of course, we're going to be talking a little bit more about food shortages throughout, maybe in the next few weeks or so. It might be hitting a lot of those lesser developed or developing countries a lot harder than for the developed countries like us. But yeah, of course, staples, it doesn't only come down to food, it also comes down to cleaning products, it comes down to diapers, detergent, diapers, snacks, soda, everything that a daily consumer would need. Those are the things that's going to be affected, your Tide Pods, Lunchables. So yeah, of course, consumer spending is going to be going down. So if consumer spending is going to be going down, it would only make sense for people to spend a little bit less money. And of course, this way, it can kind of bring down the inflation. But at the same time, right now, I think that the whole entire world have a lot of money. We have more money than we had before. Okay, and especially with how a lot of countries are just printing a lot of money as well. It simply means that there's a lot more money in the surrounding as compared to what we had before. Hence, inflation is going to press on even harder. But of course, we're going to have more inflation fears 2 weeks from now on the 12th of April, which I also had a video which I posted on Saturday. So if you're interested for that, you can just go to my main channel and check that out. All right, so something happened yesterday as well on Sunday, which is a shooting in Sacramento, California. So it left 6 dead and 12 wounded. I'm not going to talk a lot about this because this is basically just gun violence all over again. And I don't think that my thoughts for gun violence should hold any sort of I don't think whatever I say should really hold any sort of level in terms of the people who are being affected and such. But personally, I'm of course against gun violence and such. I do think that guns should not be owned by every single civilian. But of course, I'm not gonna be sharing my opinion as publicly as always. But okay, next up, it finally happened. Russia and Ukraine, we are starting to see massacre of civilian. So the difference is because from the 24th of February onwards, what we actually saw for Russia and Ukraine, it was mostly military versus military and such, maybe a few civilian casualties from bombings, shellings and such. But the issue is with what we have right now is because Russia is starting to do civilian massacre. So according to one of the article by Wall Street Journal, on the way back when Russia is kind of retreating back, they found a lot of civilian and they went about to kill all of them. Of course, this is not 100% proven just yet, which is why a lot of them are saying just Russia being accused of that being the case. But I don't want to be the one to say that, this is going to be false or this is going to be true. But if this is true, this is very, very bad because right now we're talking about civilian getting in the midst of the crossfire as well. And I don't think that's always not going to be a good sign for the entire world. Okay, which is also the reason why we started to see oil pricing going up, wheat pricing going up. And this is all because people are thinking that the fear of a war being prolonged is still there, and oil prices is going to continue to persist higher. Wheat prices is going to continue to persist higher as well. That's the kind of fear that we have right now in the market. But yeah, so that's kind of the reason why they're going through this whole entire thing right now. All right. To end it all, I don't want to do a very, very long video today because I really want to rest and my throat is really killing me right now. But I really want to do a video. I don't want to miss a Monday, especially. So yeah, all right. The Great Resignation isn't slowing and may persist. So of course, this is just an opinion. I do think that this is kind of not true. Okay, so for the Great Resignation, I'm pretty sure a lot of us probably felt it as well. As we're getting out of the whole lockdown period of the pandemic, a lot of us actually started to say that we do not need our jobs. We can have slightly unstable income via your stocks trading, be it your flipping business, your drop shipping, or whatever side hustle that you're doing. Chances are you're able to really survive through this entire pandemic and such. But the thing is that for the current Great Resignation, personally, I do think that people are really trying to get back into their jobs again, because especially with war, I do think that that's going to add an additional tension to this entire thing. So before the war, everyone was actually expecting their employee to come back to work, but a lot of their employees don't want to go back to work. A lot of them are thinking about jumping to other companies, being able to get a higher pay, being able to negotiate for higher wages and such. Makes a lot of sense. I truly believe that should be the case as well. However, the thing is that right now, because of the war incoming, this is going to be creating a lot of different pressure. Okay, not only inflationary pressure, geopolitical pressure as well. And this is going to indirectly affect a lot of things. So, for example, if your company do have relation with Ukraine or Russia, or even with China and US. These are the kind of things that would slowly be affected, and your companies might have to start to think about cutting costs. And when your company is starting to think about cutting costs, they will definitely want to keep those people who are highly effective. And of course, inside the group of highly effective people, you're going to have people who are willing to stay and people who are ready to leave the company. So if you're in the midst of cutting costs, of course, you're going to hopefully have both groups stay. And if you can't, you have to get the effective people who are willing to stay, get them to stay. So you're going to give them all the bonuses and such to encourage a better efficacy when you're doing the work and such. And of course, you're going to have the second group of people who are not as effective and they still want to leave. Those people are the one that is going to have a hard time finding jobs in the future, because the thing is that if your company don't want you, and when it finally comes down to you, it finally dawned to you that you want to get back to this job. For example, if the stock market is not working out well, your drop shipping business is not working out well, your flipping business is not working out well, I want to go back to my company and work. Chances are there's a possibility that your company might not want you back, and that's going to be kind of like a concern for a lot of people as well. So I do think that at the same time, as much as they are thinking that the Great Resignation isn't slowing and may persist, I do think of it in the other way around. I do think that people are actually getting the hang of it. Those people who quit their job and actually found a proper stable income via a job that they like, they might be self-employed, they might be a business owner. Good on you, okay? It's great because you actually finally got out of the machine. Okay, you're not just a cog in the machine, you got out of the machine. That's fantastic. But there are people who just tried to get out of the machine and now realize that they need the machine to continue. And those people, oftentimes, when they do want to go back to the company and such, the company kind of have more say than you do right now, especially if the Great Resignation is going to slow down. For example, of course, all these are all theoretical and such. If this whole Great Resignation is going to be slowing down and will not persist, I do see that companies having more say in employing power and such. And because of that, people who thought that they didn't need the company, they're going to get a sack and such. They're going to get the final boot. And of course, then from there on, you're going to start to create this whole new recession sort of fear again in the market and such. So yeah, I do think that the Great Resignation is indeed slowing. But of course, let's look into what he's actually talking about. Fewer people in the job market, underpinned by a long-term demographic trend, is allowing talented workers to have more options, and they are going where their needs are met. Similar to what I'm actually talking about, but let's be honest, same thing. If the company gets the employing power back instead of the employee, this whole point is going to be nullified. That is sort of a change today. Employees are more prepared to attach consequences to their unhappiness or not getting what they want. They are prepared to quit their job if they're not happy. Like I said before, it's true that people are prepared to quit their job if they're not happy. But right now, with so many different uncertainty in the air, we are not able to say something as carefree as before. Because if you're taking 2021 into consideration, everything was up. Pay were going up, everything was going up. People who felt that they were not respected, people who thought that they are not properly paid, people who think that they deserve their bonuses, which they are not getting, and people who are not happy at their work, they are just going to quit. And that's how you created this whole Great Resignation and such. But I do think that, right now, it's not that easy for people to just stamp their foot down and just say that, we're going to quit if we're not happy. I think a lot of people are going to start to actually bear with it a little bit, just like the older times. But overall, I think they're taking COVID-19 into consideration about working from home and such. So I got similar views on that as well. But yeah, anyway, that's all we have for today's news. It's going to be a little bit shorter. But yeah, I think that'll be all. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm going to be feeling better and I can actually project my voice more efficiently. All right, so see you guys tomorrow. Bye.